Lou,
Yeah,
how are you doing?
right this second. I don't know. I'm kind of okay. I made a lasagna and now I'm rethinking like how much cheese I put on it. I never know.
Do you feel like you put too much cheese or too little cheese?
I feel like I put too much, but
Nope,
it's probably
that's
not.
impossible.
It's impossible.
If you're the one dosing out the cheese, there's 0% chance that there's too much cheese on there.
That bad, huh? That's terrible.
You're very, very like, I don't want to say stingy, but you're very conservative
I'm not conservative at all.
with your cheese.
No.
With cheese, you 100% are.
Speaking of cheese, so like
Speaking of cheese.
2 days ago, I was feeling some kind of way, and I made lunch, and then I started to make a whole box of macaroni and cheese, and I was like, I'm gonna have some macaroni and cheese. This is gonna be great. And I don't know, I just got like a kick or something, and I asked you if you wanted a little bit, and you said nah. And I go, okay, cool. I'm just gonna have a whole box of macaroni and cheese. And you know when's the last time I had macaroni and cheese that was actually hot? So I sat down and I ate a whole bowl or a whole box, which fit in one bowl, of macaroni and cheese, and I don't regret it. I don't regret it at all.
Regret it. I guess
Zero regrets.
I guess the last time you could have hot food would be the last time I made you food and then said, no, you must eat it now.
Yeah. I get distracted.
Typically,
I'm doing other
it's
shit.
because somebody else needs something from you and you don't get a chance to eat your food.
Yeah. That too.
But also sometimes you could be completely alone, make yourself some food, and then set it on the counter somewhere, start doing something and go, oh yeah, food. Why is it cold?
Yeah.
Still not too much cheese in that either, by the way.
Yeah. So
Every time I go to make you something with cheese, you go, hey,
I do have to
calm down on the cheese, pal.
I do. And even later.
We should clarify though.
Oh, it's veggie cheese.
Yeah, it's always vegan cheese. But yes, it's still too little. It's still too little.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I have veggie cheese on my mind.
You have veggie cheese on your mind. I have cheese on my mind for a different reason. I've been playing this video game.
Ooh, what video game?
It's a video game called Elden Ring.
Oh,
and I'm
go ahead.
fairly obsessed with it at this point in my life, which I shouldn't be. I shouldn't be at all because it's not the kind of game I normally like.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing about it that is something that I would normally be into is that it's got this open world thing, so you can kind of like explore and do stuff. But there's no quest markers. There's no quest guidance. It's just if you talk to somebody, they might give you a riddly hint that later you could do something for them. That's how quests are formatted. And all of the fighting in the game, I like games where you can kind of spam and just like there's no stamina. You just hit until it dies. You can kind of tank things.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of game where you got to play more strategically. And those games tend to frustrate me pretty badly because I don't want to spend half a day trying to figure out how to beat a boss.
Yeah.
That said, I've spent half today trying to beat this one boss. I've even gotten to the point where, and I don't normally do this because I don't like involving strangers in my video gaming.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not fun for me.
Yeah.
But they have a feature in this game where you can, if you go online, you can invite people to help you. They're called cooperators. And there's people who specifically want to help you with specific bosses. And so they put their little mark outside of the boss door.
Yeah.
So for like the last 2 hours, I've been inviting 2 people at once to come in and help me.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't just keep retrying with the same 2 people. Every time you have to reset it and find 2 new people. Still getting hosed the whole time. I don't know. I am way higher level than I'm supposed to be according to the internet for this boss.
Yeah.
I do a lot of damage. I just cannot beat it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I'm not good at it, but it's pissing me off. I had this thought a little bit ago. I feel like I'm a pretty laid back individual most of the time, but some mornings I wake up and choose violence and I'm redlining at this edge of frustration all day.
Today? Or
today is one of those kind of days, but that's because I knew I had to get up and do taxes. But
oh no,
it's not all the time. It's very rare. But on those days, nothing, just
Yeah.
the smallest thing. And I'm like, for instance, this is an example. I went to go to the bathroom and that rug that we have in there got caught under the door.
Okay.
And I was like, fucking rug. That is not even a big deal.
No, I yelled at it too the other day.
But that's where I'm at.
Earlier today,
That's
I
where
yelled
I'm
at
at
it.
is like just the smallest thing. And I'm like, fucking rug.
Yeah,
And yeah, I don't know if other people experience that.
I do.
It's not a daily thing for me. I'm mostly a pretty content, happy person who likes to joke around and laugh, and I don't take things super seriously.
yeah,
But on days like this, where I know my brain is redlining into frustration, irritation zone,
yeah.
everything pisses me off.
Mm-hmm.
And those little things feel like they stack up and pile up until the end of the day when I'm just like basically walking volcano.
Yeah.
I've had it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wake up here sometimes.
Yeah.
I just wake up that way, and that's how it is.
Why? Like, I wish I could figure out like on the day, because I know it as soon as I wake up, I know it's going to be one of those days,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because like I'll get caught on my blanket getting out of bed and I'll be like unreasonably pissed at the blanket. The good thing is I typically on those days, it doesn't overflow onto people.
Mm-hmm.
It's mostly objects that get
Yeah.
my scorn. But if like too many people ask me for something on one of those days, like, and it piles up,
Yeah.
the last person to ask me gets a yeah, I guess.
No.
Right?
It's always me.
Well,
It's always me.
that's that's just a
no.
game of numbers, right?
Oh,
Because
no.
that's because we're together all day. That it's not that I'm like, oh, here she comes. It's that, you know.
Well,
anyways.
I too have been playing a video game, and it is very frustrating. I think it is the reason why
The Lego Star Wars.
I too yelled at the rug this morning because it got caught on the door.
Yeah.
And I get followed to the bathroom by our littlest one and by our dog,
Yeah.
and they won't leave. Those two girls will not leave me alone. So I have to close the door. Well, the rug gets caught in the door, and I go, "Gah!" But I'm playing Lego Star Wars, the Luke Skywalker saga. I wish I could go up to somebody and they would give me some riddly hint, because what ends up happening.
You're saying
is
you would prefer the Elden Ring quest?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why don't we switch games? Usually I end up yelling at the TV,
Yeah.
and then one of the boys comes in and goes, "What's going on? Are you okay?" And I go, "Yeah. Where do I get the mini kit? Where is this thing? Or how do I get at it?" And they go, "Okay, well, here's what you do." And I go, "Don't talk at me." It just gets I get really annoyed, and I don't know. Poor Liam, he goes, "Mom, you shouldn't be getting this mad about it." And I go, okay, Liam, okay. And he goes, "I don't think you should be playing video games." I can't tell you how many times I've told that very thing to him
Yeah.
when he's screaming about it.
Maybe he's being sarcastic with
Maybe.
you and getting you back.
Yeah, probably. He is the sarcastic king.
I hear him swear about video games a lot, so I don't know where he's coming from on that one.
That is his sole purpose of cursing, is yelling at his...
What pisses me off in video games, typically what gets me like yelling at the TV or whatever, is when there's something that feels cheap in the game where like, oh, I know what I have to do, but this one specific thing keeps stopping me because it requires some amount of like inhuman timing or superhuman timing to do, right?
Can we talk about the fact that it gives you 4 buttons to push down, and they're in different areas, and you got to run to it, and then you got to jump on. How many times do your thumbs not do the thing? Then you got to be smart, and you got to, I got to use a Jedi character to put a box on top of one of these buttons, and then I can get the other 3 easily.
Yeah.
It's stupid. It's dumb. But I keep playing it. I'm on episode 5.
Well, welcome to being a gamer.
Empire is striking back in a major mean way. So
we tried to record last week, and
don't even get me
we ended up
started.
with a lost episode because we tried to talk. Let's just talk about that for a second so that
Okay.
we can prepare people going forward. We try to talk again about a political topic. And again, we got a little heated.
We got too judgy. We got too heated.
Well, we both got a little bit judgmental about things, but I think it's hard not to get judgmental about politics, right? Regardless of what direction you lean, it gets hard to not be judgmental and think that your side's the right side.
Right.
So I forgive us for that. But we were talking about, like, you had asked a question about, have politics gotten worse? Because I don't remember them being like this when I was a kid. And then
I think it's just the internet now at this point.
And then I got super condescending, not on purpose, just like...
Not at me either.
No. I wasn't at you. It was like at the audience. And I was like... I don't want to release that episode. I sound like a jackass, and we both sound really kind of judgy of people. And I didn't want people to come across that we think that they're worse people because they have a different belief system than us, because that's not the truth.
It just wasn't fun.
It was, and it also
didn't feel fun. And the only reason we want to do this is to have fun.
Yeah,
like it's the only reason, like, we're together and the whole thing. Like we have a family. It's just because we wanted to do it differently and we wanted to have fun with it. Yeah. And so when an episode goes south, it just doesn't feel fun, and I don't want that.
Yeah, if we don't enjoy listening to it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's not always the bar, because sometimes, you just don't like your own voice. But, if we're like, ooh, cringe, the audience is going to hate that too.
Right.
But the whole episode was being recorded because we were trying to answer a question from a listener. Mm-hmm. And it derailed because the question's hard to answer without sounding a little bit holier than thou or judgmental. But I do want to answer the question.
And it's not just a one sentence answer either.
Right. I don't want to spend a whole episode on it because that's where we went wrong. But I do want to answer the question as concisely as possible for myself. And then you can answer it for yourself.
Okay.
I don't think we should get into the reasoning or trying to sell anybody on it. But I just think that all drugs should be legal is the question. Mm-hmm. Or
the question
we made a statement, all drugs should be legal.
Yeah.
And then that person asked us to please explain that.
Yeah.
For me, it's just that I've seen addiction firsthand and secondhand. Mm-hmm. I know for a fact that the war on drugs does not have the desired outcomes. Mm-hmm. It criminalizes something that's a mental and physical health issue. Mm-hmm. And it punishes and unfairly targets marginalized communities for participating in something that is no different or any worse than common consumption of alcohol. Mm-hmm. So I think if we legalize all of those things, just like we have legalized alcohol, we can accomplish quite a few things. We can help clean up the prison system. We can help rehabilitate people who find themselves in the circumstance of feeling like they need a drug. We can take all of the tax money that we would inevitably make from the sale of this and do great things for our country. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I think they should all be legal. And that's as nice as I can say it without getting preachy. I feel like that felt better to me.
Okay, good. For me, I come from a place of I just want to be compassionate that people self-medicate, and whether they're doing drugs or they're selling or making, it all comes from a place of desperation, and then you turn to things to self-medicate. Yeah. On the other hand, and so I don't know. I think if we took the power away from the money aspect of it, and we put that power and money into better resources especially for unhoused people or drug users, then we would be a better society, I think. And if we didn't demonize certain things so hard, then we used more of a compassionate mind, then less people would be hurt and get hurt, I think.
Yeah. The bottom line is the same amount of people are going to do drugs, whether they're legal or not.
Yes. And that's been proven.
But if we can have programs in place for people who feel trapped in that cycle, to
whichever,
even if they don't want help to stop doing the drugs, just giving them a safe place to do those drugs and to buy those drugs that will result in less death, unnecessary death, right? Just think about like all of the famous people who have died from drug overdoses because they have to hide it because it's bad, right? And if they had someplace they could go to shoot up or snort or whatever drug they want to do, right? They could do it in a safe place with a dosage from a trained medical professional, and then we'd have a lot less people dying from needlessly dying from a thing they really can't even control at a certain point, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, some people just use drugs to party and they don't have an addiction problem.
Yeah, and it gets more nuanced than what we're saying.
Nuanced, yeah. Just the general, I guess, consensus is like, what are things that we can do about it that help the most people and harm the fewest people? And legalizing all drugs is a really good first step in helping and not harming. Okay.
And Oregon has become one of the first states that has decriminalized possession.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the selling or the production, but at least the possession.
Yeah.
So that can hopefully help a lot of people on all. And they are opening up supervised injection facilities and so that people can be monitored and just have support and a safe place to use drugs if they have to, which some people feel like they have to. And so I think if we take more of a compassionate angle towards that.
Yeah.
That's all I want to say about it.
All right. Good. So that's all we were going to talk about on that. So that's the whole episode, folks. Thanks for
No. One more thing. You, after how many years, cut your hair?
Oh yeah. So
you let me cut your hair. You let the little lady and I cut your hair.
April 13th, 2020. I'd shaved my head for work, but we had been sent home because of the pandemic like a month earlier. But I cut my hair because they wanted headshots. And so I just shaved it like I normally do because, it's just easy, fast. I can do it myself. I don't have to bug anybody. If it's fucked up, it's my fault. So I shaved my head. And then that day, like later on that day, I was like, oh, I don't have to go back to the office. I've never done this before. I'll just grow my hair out as long as I can. And at first it was just going to do it for a year. And then that year came and I was like, I'll just go 2 years.
Yeah.
Or actually what I said to myself was like, oh, I'm just going to go till the pandemic's over.
Oh, no.
And then I realized the pandemic's probably not going to be over for a while. So then I set a date for myself, 2 years, and then I'll make a decision what I want to do. And April 13th, 2022 was 2 years. And so I was like pretty much done with the long hair at that point.
Yeah.
It was pretty long. It's past my shoulders. But, my hair is starting to thin a little bit and I'm getting older and I look
don't say
a lot of times when I would wake up, I would look like I had just crawled out of a well that I had sat in for months until someone found me. Like I also kind of look like maybe I could be, as I've lost weight, like a skeleton in a dungeon. You know how they sometimes still have hair? It just didn't look great. It wasn't great. Sometimes right after a shower, it would look awesome. And I would take a selfie and put it like that's my Twitter picture or something. But most of the time you'd run across me and I'd have like a beanie on or a baseball hat because it just didn't look great. So then you cut my hair, you and Fred cut my hair. And I'm notoriously bad about haircuts. I don't, anybody who knows. You
don't like them? You don't accept them?
I'm just bad. I'm bad at getting them. Whenever I've ever gone to get a professional haircut, I always end up with the lady's boobs in my face, which is, any other situation, maybe that's okay if it's consensual, but I just want a haircut. I don't want to be, I don't want Portia to put her boobs on my face while she's leaning over. Just walk around to the other side.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tough for me to get haircuts. I'm usually never happy with how they come out either. I just always feel like I look stupid. Well, I got teased a lot about haircuts when I was a kid, I think.
Oh yeah.
So
me too. The famous one is where I asked for a perm.
Yeah.
A curly perm. And the grown-ups.
Is this the 5th grade haircut?
Yes. Yeah. This is the notorious 5th grade haircut. The grown-ups around me thought that it would be good to do it themselves but they cut the top of portion of my hair off first. So, and then permed that. So I had a top perm with straight hair in the back and sides on the bottom.
You had a jellyfish.
It was awful.
You went to
It was
school
awful.
with a jellyfish.
I had to go
on
to
your
school
head.
like that. I had to go to public school like that.
I can top it.
Nah, I don't
Freshman,
think, nothing can top
I can.
my 5th grade haircut. Not nothing.
I can one up it.
Nope.
Freshman year, I asked for a haircut that made my head look like a ribbed condom.
Oh, you like lines in it?
I had lines, but all the way around from ear to ear, and then like half an inch apart, all the way down from the top of my head down to the bottom of my neck.
No,
And I got
mine is still better.
mercilessly teased for that.
Okay, you draw yours because you've already drawn mine, including the tears, all the tears that I've.
I drew yours based on your description, though.
Okay, so draw yours
Yeah.
and we'll put them on Instagram and we'll see whose is worse.
Do
Because
you still have that drawing? That was so long ago.
yeah, I still have that drawing. And what's even funnier is I've posted it before, and people who were in 5th grade with me have liked it and laughed emoji. Yeah. Yep. I felt like that was done to me, sir.
It was done to you.
It was awful. All right. So here's the cool part that we're going to do for today episode.
Well, let's talk about that really quickly, too. Just going forward, we're going to stop doing
Structure.
structured topic. We're just
Yeah.
going to chat. We're just going to have a chat about whatever we want to
We
talk
need to
about.
get back to the fun.
If it gets rambling or whatever. This is not a topic, but we did have some questions
Yeah.
that we wanted to answer.
The questions have been piling up. Viewer questions.
I don't think any of these questions are as serious as the drug one. That's why we separated
Yeah.
it out.
Yep.
And because we had such a hard time answering that question without feeling like we were getting
Mm-hmm.
crazy on it. So that's why we separated that one out, because we did want to answer it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't
Yeah.
want people to like wonder.
No,
Although
and-
maybe we don't always have to answer in audio format. Maybe we could just respond on.
Yeah. I'm not good at that. I'm not good at that.
Well, I could do it
Okay, cool.
if you don't want to do it.
Okay.
All right. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm going to go.
I have a question, but no person on the top of this one.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
That's not good.
All right. So you go first. And we're not going to get deep dive on all of these, are we?
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
Here's a really light, easy one.
Okay.
Warpstar323 asks,
Okay.
what's your favorite food?
Shit. So I don't really have a favorite single dish,
Mm-hmm.
but I do have two favorite types of cuisine
Mm-hmm.
that like anytime
Yeah.
I'm down.
Yeah.
Right. And those are Mexican food.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about like Taco Bell, although
Right.
Taco Bell is still good in a pinch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about like as close to the original
Yeah.
traditional source as you can get.
Nice.
I really like that. And then I also am an enormous fan of Italian food,
Oh.
but I don't eat Italian food as much as I'd like to because it's really carb heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of Italian food, it is very much the Americanized Italian food, like
Yeah. It's heavy.
spaghetti and
Yeah.
garlic toast,
Yeah.
not the actual stuff that you would go over to Italy and find.
Right.
Like,
Another one is
wait, you didn't answer
sorry.
yours.
I'm
not
sorry.
just for me.
Potatoes. Potatoes. Okay, I could go. Okay, so like, have you seen that? Have you seen that? Have you
Shit.
in the movie Forrest Gump? Have you seen the scene
I
where
also very much like potatoes.
in the movie Forrest Gump, there's a scene where he's talking to his friend Bubba and
Yeah, the gumbo shrimp.
Yeah, the
stuff,
gumbo shrimp, and he's like, he's describing all the ways you can have shrimp.
Yeah.
Well, imagine that only with potatoes. And I could go on for a little while because you
Yeah.
can do just about anything with potato.
Potatoes
any way you can give
Yeah.
me a potato, I will eat up.
Yeah. What's your favorite way to eat potatoes, though?
Oh,
I know you like all potatoes. I also do, but what's your favorite type of potato?
I'm going to go with mashed potatoes, but
Yeah.
you got to add in a little bit of butter. And then what I do, which is really, really good, is I add a whole thing of cream cheese. And you mix that really good. Not to the point where it's soupy, because gag, but where it's still got a little bit of lumps in it.
I think
you-
that's pretty
and
common,
You mix
right?
it really good. I've never heard of it. When I was younger, I didn't know that until
Oh, no, maybe I'm thinking of sour cream.
Yeah. I can do that too. That's a good way to do it. But
Yeah.
I put cream cheese in it.
Cream cheese.
And it makes it
Like
creamier,
bagel.
and it's really good like that too.
Vegan cream cheese.
Yes, tofutti cream cheese is the best one
Awesome.
that I do.
My favorite way to eat potatoes is roasted potatoes with rosemary.
You're on a big rosemary kick lately.
I didn't know I liked it. And then I discovered it. I discovered that I liked it.
Yeah.
And now I want to put it on everything.
Well, I'm gonna. Fun fact: I'm gonna grow some rosemary for you this summer.
That's awesome.
So there you go.
All right.
All right. Next question. Tool fan. Oh my gosh. Tool fan 420.
Okay.
I
That
heard.
person likes marijuana.
Yeah. I heard you both were Tool fans. So I wanted to ask, what is your favorite Tool song and why?
No, I know that person, and they know for a fact that I am not a Tool fan. Here's the thing: I don't like Tool, but the only reason why is because I had a roommate who played it too much, and I just got tired of it.
Yeah.
Plus, I guess at that time in my life, I wasn't really into that style or genre of music, and so it just kind of made it worse for me. I also got sick of Rage Against the Machine at the same around the same time because of the same reason, same roommate.
Yeah. And when I moved in with you, he would blast it at like 6:30 a.m.
Yeah.
So
he
that was
killed Dave Matthews for you.
Oh
right?
yeah, that for sure. I'm sorry, Dave Matthews. I used to really be like cool with it, but now I can't even because once that stuff starts blasting into your ears at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, it's not fun.
Well, here's a fun fact about me. I love listening to songs on repeat.
Yeah, oh yeah, me too. I do that in the car all the time.
I'm a huge fan of doing that, but I got Glenn Danzig's Mother cassette single stuck in my Pontiac 6000, and that's all it could play for years. And it made friends not want to be friends anymore. But I was still like, to this day, I'm like, Mother, right? Like, I love it. But like just something, I don't know what happened, but in that period, like it was too much.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah. I think it's because we were trying to make it go as a couple.
Yeah.
And it was just like intrusive.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Probably.
And you were very protective of me during that time, I feel. And you were trying to like make it nice, and it wasn't nice with roommates.
I was trying to, I wasn't protective, like back away from her dudes,
I'm
but
saying
more like, hey, I want to protect your peace.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And you were trying to protect my privacy and the calmness of it, because I just came from like a terrible experience and a terrible home life.
Yeah.
You were trying to be very protective of me.
But I wasn't like, get your damn hands off. Hey, what's your favorite Tool song?
My favorite Tool song is The Pot. And then my number 2 favorite Tool song is Eulogy.
Okay, that's too many. You already like too many.
Yeah. But Parabola and Schism are awesome too.
I'm sure that at this point in my life, if I listened to a Tool song and didn't know it was Tool, I might enjoy it.
You would.
Because
they're rocking.
But if you go, hey, here's some Tool, I'm going to be like, no, thank you. Thank you, but no, thank you.
I owe it all to our kid.
And I'll absolutely.
He's a metalhead, and I love it.
I want to say that that's no like offense to anybody who likes Tool or the band Tool. They are talented and they do make good music. I'm just not.
It's hard to hear once you go through an experience.
I'm just
like
not super interested. I did try to get back into Rage Against the Machine just like a month ago, and I was like, it's still too soon.
It's 25 years later.
Yeah.
Okay, William L. asks, what's your favorite scary movie?
Ooh, of all time or just like recently?
That's just the question. So you interpret that.
That's a really hard question. You go first. And
I don't like scary movies at all.
Okay.
I'm not a scary movie kind of person. If you really pushed me though, I would probably say Scream, because those ones are kind of.
But you like, well, I guess Shaun of the Dead's not really.
Shaun of the Dead. It is scary. It does have some scary parts. I would go with that one.
But it's not really structured like a scary movie, right? Like Scream is structured like a scary movie, and Shaun of the Dead's more like a comedy.
It also has campy, funny parts too.
Yeah, that's true. Gosh,
that's the only way I'm watching scary movies. If it's have funny parts. I like
scary movies generally speaking, but I don't really love scary movies. I love them, but I don't love them. Most of them disappoint me, I guess.
Yeah, that's
what I should say. I do have a strong memory of watching Nightmare on Elm Street movies with my father when I was a kid. And we would just like laugh about the one-liners and like geek out about the special effects and stuff.
And now you're watching them with your kid.
Yeah, watching them with Liam. I guess if like, what's one I could watch over and over again? I can watch the new Dawn of the Dead over and over again, the one that takes place in the mall that has Ving Rhames in it.
Oh yeah, that one's pretty scary.
That one I can watch over and over again.
Ugh.
So I feel like that's a pretty good one. I
That one's got
rewatched,
running zombies.
yeah,
Ugh.
yeah. I rewatched all of the Hellraisers recently, and I was like, oh, this is cheesy.
Yeah.
When I
Ugh.
was a kid, they were terrifying.
The one that I watched when I think I was like 24 or something, and I stayed up and we watched it together.
Yeah.
And then I did not sleep for 3 days. Like honestly, 3 whole.
Right.
I refused to even lay down in a dark room because it was The Grudge with Sarah Michelle Gellar. Oh my god, I'm gonna. Oh.
The Grudge and The Ring were both pretty good. I'm pretty excited about. There's one coming up called X. It's I think in theaters now, but it's an A24 movie, and it takes place in the 70s, and this film crew is going to film a movie, and it turns out that they're in a horror movie.
Oh boy.
Anyways, it looks interesting. It has Brittany Snow in it, and what's the other person's name? I can't remember. Brittany Snow's on the poster is the only reason. But it looks interesting. And the last few A24 movies that I've seen have been pretty good. But I don't know if I have an exact favorite of all time. Scariest one I've ever seen is Rob Zombie's The Devil's Rejects.
Okay, that's where
We're not going to talk into it,
No.
but that's the one that actually truly scared me.
fellow vegan, but no.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shaun of the Dead is my answer.
I actually think he's probably a nice guy.
I'm sure. It always turns out like the heavy
Darkest.
tattooist,
Yeah.
the most tattooed person you meet, and the creepiest person creatively that you meet is always like the nicest, sweetest people because they get that out, right?
Yeah.
They get that out of their head and they're like,
Yeah.
here's something creepy I made, but I am sweet and kind. Like,
They have they have an outlet for their dark thoughts. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. XX Ronnie XX asks, do you guys have
Are these PlayStation names?
Yeah,
Or?
I'm not sure exactly. Do you guys have a favorite board game for just the two of you to play? My wife and I want to get into board games, but I don't know where to start. I say Ticket to Ride, where you start.
Oh,
That's a fun one.
yeah. Yeah, that's a good starting place.
That's a fun.
And you can the cool thing about Ticket to Ride is that there are different maps you can buy.
Yeah, like you can do a Europe, or do they have the
But you
America
can-
one? The
yeah.
Americas?
Yeah. But you start off with the base game, and it's got a fairly open, friendly map. But then you can get a map that has more cutoff points and places
Yeah.
where you can like be a little bit meaner if you want. But you never have to go to that point, right?
Yeah.
You can say, "Oh, I don't want to play that map. It seems a little bit mean." And then
And
from-
Target carries it, so.
yeah, I think that's a good
But our favorite one that we like to play together is Unmatched, right?
Yeah. I would say that's
I
true.
like that one because
Yeah.
then you're diving into more nerdier
Yeah.
characters. Like I can be Medusa and you can be Bruce Lee,
Yep.
and we can like have those battles. Though that one is a good couples one.
And it plays fast enough that even if you get a little butt hurt from the meanness of it, it doesn't last very long.
Yeah, yeah,
Right? Like, because some of the characters can feel kind of cheap in that game. Like,
Yeah.
there's one in the newest set that teleports, and I'm like,
No.
that is a bullshit.
that's terrible. Nah.
But yeah, that's a good one too. I will say this though, of my opinion is any game that can play well at 2 players, that makes you both smile or laugh
Yeah,
and have fun, that's the best 2-player game that you can play together.
that's a good one.
Right? There's a lot of games that you can try, but everybody has different taste.
Right.
Right? And Unmatched might
That's
not
why they
feel
make
great.
all these.
Yeah, Unmatched might not feel great to a couple who are more Care Bears and don't want to be competitive with each other. But Ticket to Ride might feel too friendly, right? So then they've got those other maps and whatnot.
Care Bears. I like it. All right.
Well, that's an actual gaming term. It's like
Is it
people
really?
who don't want to do attacky moves and
I'm a
stuff.
full-on Care Bear. I hate it. I feel terrible doing it. And and like when it's you and the boys playing and I'm playing, I would rather attack you because I know you can handle it than attack
Right.
one of my children.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
Yeah, I don't mind getting attacked in a game unless the attack takes me out of the game early. Like you build in a place where now I can't do anything for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
That's not fun.
That's not cool.
But if later on in the game you do an attack that causes me to lose a build, that's different.
Yeah.
Right. But if you
or if it just blocks you for a turn or something.
Right. But if you shut me out permanently and I'm like, oh, well, then there's no turns I can do.
Yeah.
That's not fun at all.
Nah, that's not fun. All right. Another one is, okay. All right. Not someone you know. I burnt my finger yesterday. What do I do?
Okay, I've burnt my hands and arms a lot from working in fast food, so I would say it's probably too late for this, but ice it.
Like, how long has it been? I'm so sorry about your finger.
Run it in a cold water, ice it, and then bandage it. If it's bad, then also go to the doctor. Like if it's bubbles immediately.
Yeah. But also,
I mean, you do what you need to do for yourself. Healthcare in this country sucks, but
don't.
If it bubbles or pops or pusses or anything like that, if it's a heavy burn, then you want to get it treated because you could lose some sensation there
and some skin.
I burnt my forearm really, really bad when we worked at KFC together. Because I had some corn in the steamer and I was standing on the wrong side and the corn beeped, and so I popped the door and opened it.
Yep.
But I opened it outward from my arm and my arm went over the top and the steam billowed out across my arm. And my arm, it did not scar, but it was very, it bubbled.
Yeah.
It got bad and it was very red and sore for
Angry.
I don't know, 4 or 5 months after that.
Yikes.
And anytime I get it near heat, I can kind of.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah.
So 1, you want to run it under cold water. 2, you want to keep it dry.
Yeah.
You don't want to get it soggy and wet because then that will that skin will come off too early before the skin underneath is ready to be exposed to air. And then you want to put lanolin. Once it like kind of hardens and dries out a bit, then you want to put lanolin on it and keep it moisturized, but not wet.
No,
not
this is
goopy.
all for like minor first aid burns.
Yeah.
If you will know, if it is a major burn, go to the ER.
Yeah. And then keep it away from heat.
Yes.
There you go. Yep. All right. Now you have another page of questions.
All right. But again, I don't have the name of the first question there.
Then just.
Someone asks, what is your favorite film genre or genre? Thriller, rom-com, action, etc., and why?
Don't even get you started on rom-coms.
Oh God, you know what? Rom-coms hurt my heart. I don't like.
You don't like it when everything's going great and then something happens like, oh, you've been keeping a secret and now we're done, and then they separate for like 20 minutes of the movie and then they ultimately get back together. But that
some
20
movies,
minutes
it's
is
longer
like
than 20 minutes, and it's heart-wrenching. I can't. I don't really have a favorite genre. I like movies. I like all movies across all genres. But if you were to like look at our collection and determine what we have the most of, it's probably comedy or dramedy. You know, like some funniness, funny stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that overlaps, genres and breaks out of it. Like you think it's one thing and then it becomes another, like Shaun of the Dead or Warm Bodies. But I just like watching movies if they're well made. I end up watching them most of the time, but I don't end up liking them. And I feel like a wasted time if they're shitty movies. Except for horror. So maybe horror is my favorite. Like I'll always watch horror movies. And even if they're shitty, I go, okay, well. So maybe horror. But I think I used to have a very large horror collection.
Yeah.
But we dumped a lot of it back in 2009 or something. What's your favorite?
I like comedy, I think, but not gross comedy.
That's not true.
No. Okay.
That's not true. I've never seen
kind
you
of
laugh
like a
harder
guilty. Okay, all right.
At Superbad.
All right, but also Jay and Silent Bob is kind of like a guilty pleasure. I don't know what it is. Those two just crack me up. I can't even.
Jay and Silent Bob, some of the filthiest stuff I've ever heard. Put on celluloid.
Don't judge me too hardcore.
And you crack up.
I don't expect it.
But if I say the same thing, if I just quote the movie, you go, God, what are you doing? I'm like quoting that movie you laugh so hard at.
I don't know what it is. I'm sorry.
Have you seen that? I don't know what the name of the movie is, but it has Paul Rudd in it, and he, like somebody tells him he's got to learn how to talk dirty better. And so he practices in the mirror. And it's like a sound on TikTok now, but he's like, you're going to take it? You're going to take this dick?
Oh, God, stop.
Yeah.
Stop it. Oh, no.
Have you seen that movie?
No. Well, maybe, but I don't remember.
I think that would also make you laugh because it's Paul Rudd in a mirror by himself.
Yeah, awkward.
Yeah.
I don't like awkward comedy unless it's really funny.
No. You don't mind awkward comedy. And I know this from watching you. You don't like reality awkward comedy like The Office.
Okay.
Where it's the premise is it's real.
Uh-huh.
And then so the awkwardness is reality.
Mm-hmm.
But like Paul Rudd and like, you know, any of those movies from blanking on his name, he's married to
Oh yeah. Okay. I know what you're saying.
yeah, I can't remember his name. What's his name?
I don't know.
I don't remember. Anyways, the guy who Paul Rudd always makes movies with. Judd Apatow.
There you go.
Gosh darn it.
I knew
Yes.
it started with an A, but
Those movies all have like an awkward
like-
premise to them,
yeah.
but you tend to laugh at those movies too. You don't like all of them. There are some of them where you're like, no, thank you. but the ones that have like charming characters like Paul Rudd always plays.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd's characters are always charming, even in Anchorman.
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying weird stuff like, it's like Love Panther, 60% of the time it works every time. See?
I get.
He's still charming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really like Tommy Boy and, you know,
Well, Tommy Boy's
Chris Farley movies.
Just the greatest
crack
movie of
me
all
up.
time that's ever been made.
All right, go ahead. What's another one?
Costco rules 3455. You're telling me there are 34,551 other Costco rules with a Z.
What is this?
Should Lego only be for kids?
No.
No, absolutely not.
I
That's why
have
they
had
say
more
up to
Lego
99
sets.
on the box, right?
Yeah. I've had more Lego sets in my adult life.
Well, because they're expensive.
Well, yeah, but even no, they're not. Even the little ones are not that expensive.
Well, that reminds me, there's a new blacksmith set I want to get.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
It's apparently really rad. Like you can take it apart and it's got all the floors and stuff.
Yeah.
So the answer to that question is no.
No,
They're
everyone
for everyone.
all the time.
I actually still have a Nintendo one I got for Christmas. I'm actually
Yeah,
very
you haven't put it together.
I'm intimidated because the number on the box.
How many? It's got a lot of, it's like 2646 pieces.
Is that what it says?
2,000
2,646.
2,646 pieces.
That's a lot of pieces. That's a lot of pieces.
Yes. I have the Ewok Village. That's my favorite set that I have. I
So-
love it.
Do you pronounce the XX on the
I have
front
no
and the
idea.
back? I always
Not
thought
sure.
that was just like decorative.
Maybe.
So Goosinator 79 says best live action Batman so far plus Y.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
All right, you answer.
So today is
No, tomorrow.
Today is the 17th. I
Yep.
know, but tomorrow for us is Batman, the new Batman
On HBO.
The Batman.
Yeah. Favorite already? You haven't even seen it?
I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, me too.
I'm pretty excited. But my favorite Batman, I think I just have to be like super loyal and do the Val Kilmer Batman.
Yeah.
But I don't like
That is,
Nicole Kidman.
it is quite literally the worst Batman that's ever been filmed. But because of your loyalty to Val Kilmer?
Yeah,
Okay.
I will do that. Also, Jim Carrey does a pretty decent
Actually,
job.
no, that's not true.
It's kind of over
I'm
the
gonna
top.
I'm going to take that back.
It's not the worst one.
Val's isn't the worst. George Clooney's is the worst.
I would go so far as to say Christian Bale is the worst Batman. He's a terrible Batman.
Christian Bale might be the worst Batman, but those Batman movies are not the worst Batman
No,
movies. And this
I
is
like the Joker
Batman.
part, but
This is
other
the
than
best
that,
live action Batman. So not actor, but the movie as a whole. Right? George Clooney's is the worst. Batman Forever.
if I had to sit and watch an entire Batman movie, it would be Michael Keaton's Batman. The first
Oh,
one.
Batman from 1989?
Yeah.
Okay. I used to agree with you. Watched it again recently.
Yeah, probably not so good.
Watched Jack Nicholson absolutely lose his shit and mind on camera. And
Yeah.
then I gained some respect for him, but then I was like, this is not that good. Like for 1989, that was good. And I remember seeing it in the theater and then years later watching it on VHS and being like, this really is top notch superhero, but we hadn't had much.
Right. We had zero.
Right. We hadn't had much superhero stuff. And now it just feels, it's kind of like playing a game on PlayStation 4 and then going and playing an 8-bit game on regular Nintendo. The game might still be good, but it just doesn't look the same.
Right. It's a whole different experience.
Yeah. For me, best live action Batman movie so far is The Dark Knight, just because I really like the whole Joker, Heath Ledger.
Yeah. Heath Ledger's Joker is
stuff. Yeah.
great. So
Rose,
I'm very excited for tomorrow.
me too.
Very, very excited.
Rose and Jack Forever. What is the time and date of the sinking of the? Okay, I'm not answering. I don't know.
Oh, I know. I know.
Do you?
Me, I know. The sinking of the Titanic.
Yeah.
The Titanic sank in the early morning of April 15th, 1912. And you know how I know that? Because they recently just had like a memorial of 110 years. It's been 110 years since the sinking.
That's crazy.
We're almost like 3,000 people, I think.
White Mask Var 222. And that's from Elden Ring. Hello, Tarnished. This is from Elden Ring. Hello, Tarnished. Have you two yet played this video game called Elden Ring?
We just talked about that.
Yeah, I
There you
have
go.
played a lot of it. You have not played any of it.
I've heard about it. I've heard about it for the last month or so around the table a lot.
Emmett Brown, 1985. What are your thoughts on time travel? Well, if time travel existed, it will have always existed.
Ah,
That's my thoughts on it.
super creepy. I find it really creepy, and yet I really am curious about it because I want to do it really, really badly to change some things. But I know if I change some things, then everything will change.
Yeah.
And so if I could do it like in a specific, I would totally would. If I can make specifics where nothing would change in the future, I would totally would.
So I said that little thing at the beginning because that's true. But if we did have time travel, we'd always have time travel.
Yeah.
Because that's just the premise of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is I don't have any evidence of this, but I do believe that we just are perceiving time the way that we perceive time because of our 3-dimensional point of view.
Right.
I believe that if we were a 4-dimensional being, we wouldn't perceive time in the same way. Right? We would perceive time more like it actually exists, which is all at once.
Yeah.
Which we don't perceive it that way
Just
because
hard to wrap your brain around.
3-dimensional. But I did see a person talking about like the difference between 3D and 4D is the same as if an apple lived, an apple to itself from its point of view is a 2D object. And so if it were to experience itself in 3D, it wouldn't experience like we do where we're like, oh, look, I can see all sides of my hand by moving it around. They would experience themselves in slices.
Oh, see, I can't even. That makes my brain hurt.
Right, which makes me think like we're just misinterpreting.
Yeah.
Sean Wright asks, why didn't they make a 4th movie to the Cornetto trilogy?
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
Sean,
Shaun of the Dead.
trilogy means 3.
Yeah.
And so that's why.
Uh-oh. That's all that is to it.
Resolved.
Nice.
I mean, they made more movies together, that group of creators, but I mean, it's a trilogy. You don't make a 4th one. And if you do, then it's not a trilogy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's a series.
I have one more, I think. This one is T. Callahan asks, I would love to hear what you guys think of Breaking Bad. Old school, but no spoilers, please. Uh-oh.
I think for the time that it was on, that it was a well done TV show, and I enjoyed watching it, but I wouldn't rewatch it.
I thought it was really good because the subject matter was like not done before, which is pretty good. But now that there's a newer show, Better Call Saul or whatever.
Yeah, it's a spinoff.
And the 2 characters from Breaking Bad are going to reprise their roles or actually be in one of the last season or the last episode of that show.
Yeah.
So that's going to be pretty cool.
Maybe. That was a weird spinoff. That was a weird spinoff. I didn't like that character.
It's an odd character, but I wish that everyone had a lawyer fixer person to help them through things.
All right. Do we have any more questions?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, well, I hope everybody's question got answered. And
Send us more questions.
Yeah, send us more questions. We're happy to answer them.
Yay.
In some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Anyways. All right. I love you.
I love you too. It's lasagna time.
Lasagna.
Maybe not very much cheese.
Mother, tell your children not to hold my hand. All right.
I love you too.
If you enjoyed this episode of the Lou and Me podcast, subscribe on iTunes, YouTube, or Spotify.
And follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Lou and Me Podcast.
Lou and Me is a Matthiasaurus production, produced and edited by Moose. The song is No Carpets by the New Forevers, hosted by Lou and me.
Thanks for listening.